This is Playoff Game Night.
With Jim Taddy and Scott MacArthur.
Only on TSN 1050, Toronto.
Welcome back. Jamie McLennan sitting in for Scott MacArthur as the night off. Now we'll get some legalese. Eric Macramella is with us. Eric, welcome. How are you?
I'm doing okay, guys. I have to admit, I came home and I saw Tiger Woods' his new little beard.
Oh, I missed that one.
It is, it kind of looks like he should be working on the Enterprise in the engineering department or something. You guys should check it out.
Okay, bit of a visual there. Tell us, and this is one thing that we've all moved on from, the Chara hit on Pacioretty. And so today we find out that the Montreal police haven't moved on and, in fact, want to talk to Big Chara. What can happen there?
Yeah, the Montreal police has said that they will question Chara, quote, within a few weeks. And once that's done, they will have wrapped up their investigation. Let's figure out whether they're going to press charges or not. Now, is this a surprise for talking to Chara? No, because they said that they would months ago. But is this something that I believe is reasonable? Probably not, because this is typically, the hit on Pacioretty is typically not the kind of hit where you press charges, and that is criminal charges, assault causing bodily harm. That's what we saw on Cormier, as we saw Bertuzzi on Moore, McSorley, Paris Hogan on Garrett Stafford. Those types of hits where you intentionally go out and try and injure the person, those are the kinds of hits that give rise to, a criminal charge of assault. Here, Chara was more reckless than he was seeking to hurt Pacioretty. It happened so quickly. It's not, to me, the kind of case where we look at criminal charges. So I would be surprised to see criminal charges materialize, but, guys, anything is possible.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things, Jamie McLennan here, is one of the things that frustrates me as a former player and obviously fan and analyst now is the type of situation that where police involvement gets carried away, and obviously fans in Montreal, you never want to see anybody hurt, but to me that was a hockey play, and whether it was careless or not, I don't think it's preconceived. I don't think Chara went out there and said, you know what, at this exact time I'm going to skate him and run him right into the turnbuckle there, and obviously from a legal standpoint, you just stated, is that the angle that you go at it with too?
It is because I think you've hit the nail on the head here. Chara didn't go out and say, I'm going to try and break this guy's neck. All right, we know there was friction between Pacioretty and the Bruins and Chara going back a couple of games. That we're aware of. I think when he saw Pacioretty out of the corner of his left eye, I think he wanted to punish him a bit, but that's hockey.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, they were on a part of the rink where the geometry isn't forgiving. That's the problem. And a lot of players let up around there, but Pacioretty didn't. He tried to sort of get right by him, but he couldn't. Chara extended his arm, and then what flowed from that was this awful injury. But is that a crime? Do you deserve to be thrown in prison for that? And my reaction is no. Because anyway, even if there is a charge that's laid, what are we going to see, guys? We're going to see nothing. All we're going to see is a guy, Chara, worst case scenario, gets a conditional discharge and doesn't go to prison. That's what we had with McSorley. That's what we had with Paris Hogan. That's what we had with Cormier. So it seems like a waste of time and a waste of money to pursue this when there are things that are far more important to be looking at.
Eric Macramella, the legal analyst, is our guest. So let's stay on the hockey. Matthew Hulsizer pulls out of the Phoenix Coyotes situation. We're told that Jerry Reinsdorf and another unnamed group are still hovering. I mean, what happens with this?
When I read he had pulled out, I was reminded of, being in IKEA with my girlfriend, and she spends 5 hours looking at two different chairs. I could kind of understand that he has sort of buyer's fatigue, because he's told now that there's still several more months to go because there are at least apparently two other potential buyers. There's Reinsdorf that owns the Bulls, and then there's another unnamed buyer. Now, when I heard Daly speak recently, he said that their expectation was to have a deal in place before the season started. But, you see, this is a complicated deal for Hulsizer because he doesn't want to put his own money into the deal.
Right.
And that's where a big issue arises. So I think maybe he's just had enough, but he will look to other teams.
Yeah, I mean, do you, looking forward, do you see that there is markets in America that that could handle if things fail there in Phoenix? Like, do you think it's a situation that if it doesn't go well there, that there are markets in America that could sustain and have success in the National Hockey League?
I think it's possible. I mean, I look at a place like Houston, for example, and potentially Las Vegas, which I agree is filled with landmines. But here's the thing, is that one thing has become apparently clear, Jamie, and that is the NHL and the governors are so committed to Phoenix that it blows everybody's mind. They are committed to that marketplace, the 12th biggest TV market in the U.S., and they don't want to leave. It's not that Winnipeg wasn't good enough, for example, or that Houston's not good enough. They just want to stay in Phoenix. So I just see them fighting and fighting to keep the team there.
I agree with you. I mean, Phoenix to me could be one of the best places and one of the best scenarios that I've seen. But unfortunately, as a player and as a coach and in management side, and I've been in that building and I've been there, and it's a frustrating thing to get to. It's geographically, I don't know if they built the rink in the right place. There's some frustrating factors that come along with that franchise, and I don't know if you agree or not, but to me, from a player and even from a fan standpoint, that's a tough situation for people to be in there.
You know, Jamie, I went to a game in Glendale to watch the Coyotes play, and to put it in perspective, I was sitting in the 100s. Someone in the 300s sneezed. I said, bless you. They said, thank you. And Gretzky asked for quiet because he was trying to coach. So I can't imagine it's a lot of fun for the players as well.
Yeah, I mean, that there is a lot of snowbirds there. A lot of people, especially I'm from Western Canada, a lot of people have vacationed and bought, because of the market, bought places in Phoenix and Scottsdale area. It's just that place is so laid out, so spread out that it's tough for people to drive an hour and a half to watch a game, and especially if you have a homestand. We were talking about this. You have a homestand of 3 games, Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday, and you got to drive an hour and a half or an hour and 15 minutes each way on all 3 nights. Are you going to make it? I don't see you getting there all 3 nights.
Yeah, this business is no different than any other business. It's location, location, location. I know when I went out, I was surprised by how far it was from where I was in Scottsdale. If the team was in Scottsdale, I would think they would do a lot better. It's just in the middle of nowhere.
Eric Macramella, our legal analyst, is our guest. And so the NFL talks have, sort of hit a nice little bit of activity. But how do you read into that? Is that good or bad?
No, it's good, Jim, and it's expected because the last time the both sides were in court, the Court of Appeal put the lockout back in place just temporarily, and they said that the NFL has a pretty good case on its merits, and the Court of Appeal would expect them to succeed. And what that means is the players would be looking at an indefinite lockout, at least from their perspective, perhaps up to March of next year or longer. So suddenly the players are like, we just lost our leverage, we better start negotiating. And from that moment on, we saw positive forward momentum. And what we're hearing now is that the NFL is proposing, and the players seem like they're, at least in theory, on board, is a different revenue sharing model. The old one, Jim, was 60% for the players, 40% for the owners. However, the players would get 60% after the owners took $1 billion off the top for operating expenses. And then the NFL this time around, before the lockout, said, hey, we want $2 billion now before you get your 60%. Players said, no, forget it. Now what we're hearing is 48% for the players, 52% for the owners, but that's 48% of all revenue. So no $1 billion off the top, no $2 billion off the top, 48% of all revenue. So that equals, basically, is a salary cap of $120 million, which is pretty close to what it was in 2009, because 2010 was an uncapped year. The cap in 2009, I believe, was $123 million. So that's not a bad arrangement. And so it seems like this has been an area of compromise that both sides seem to be kind of happy with.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It sounds good in a sense. Do you believe that it'll get done and everyone will be happy?
Well, I don't think anybody's ever happy. Maybe they're content. I will tell you this, Jamie, last time around when the owners signed the last CBA, owners walked out literally after signing and saying, we just signed a terrible deal. So this time the owners were a lot more committed to fighting this, keeping the lockout in place. and having a deal that they're happy with and would have to live for or would live with for a long time. The CBA may last as long as 10 years, and as far as the CBA goes, that's a long time. Put it in perspective, the NHL CBA in 2005 expires in 2012, and that was optioned by a year, so that's 6 years plus one. So I think that there were fairly obvious areas of compromise. That is, you had a revenue pie, figure out how to divide it. It's not like the NHL in 2005 where you needed a fundamental overhaul of the business model. It's not like the NBA now where you have a fundamental overhaul of the business model. This is a business, the NFL, that's healthy, $9.3 billion in revenue over the past 12 months. The thing is, how do we divide these riches so everybody is happy? That was the issue. And the other issue for the NFL is we need some money to pay for some of these new stadiums that were not all publicly paid for. That was a big issue as well.
Well, we'll watch that one. Eric, thanks very much for stopping by.
My pleasure.